Hello, I'm Benasser Wissam. I'm a network helpdesk technician at ADAME-TECHS, and today we're going to see the printing video part 2. Let's get started. So in this video, we're going to look at the most important terms when we talk about printers and when we want to choose a new printer after having seen the best economic choice for each user. First of all, we have criteria, and the first one is the size of the paper, which is going to be important depending on the type of use for the printer. So we have the type of paper, like thick paper, something for example like constant paper. I mean, we're not going to print with constant paper, but that's just to give you an idea of the thickness. The type of paper is also very important because if you want to print certificates, for example, it's essential not to have a regular paper. Then there's also the speed of printing, which is going to be important depending on your use. If you need to print a contract very quickly, for example, let's say you're a big company and you need to print contracts for your suppliers, it's going to be very important to print quite quickly. Scanning speed is also very important if you need to scan and to digitize documents quickly. So the duty cycle, literally translated into lifetime, is a very important notion because we're going to compare, for example, a large printer and a small one. The duty cycle will apply to these printers. So for the small printer, to give you an example, we'll say that it can print 500 times a month, and for the large printer, we'll say that it can print 100 times a month. So if we exceed the printing threshold, we will reduce the life of the printer. The notion of duty cycle is thus a basic but important notion in printing. Another rather important point is the print quality. The print quality is similar to the resolution quality for photos, so the more dpi, or dots per inch, the better. When I say dots per inch, I'll explain. So on 5 centimeters, for example, we'll say that we have 5 dots, and the more dots we have, the better quality of the print. So we will therefore have a better quality print. The printer's memory is also an important criterion because it will allow you to know to what extent you can automate a printer and queue up tasks. That is to say, if I want to print a photo, for example, and I want to put a lot of printouts behind it, for example, I need to print my CV, a cover letter, etc. Well, very important things, for instance. Can I automate these tasks and tell the printer I need to do this, then that, then this, etc. And this is a criterion called the printer's memory. Another important criterion is the ability to print on both sides. This may sound basic, but it's a rather complicated criterion because only recent printers have this feature. So, the last and most important notion we're going to deal with is the notion of profitability. There are 3 main factors: the base price of the printer, the price of the ink, and how many pages you can print. So I've made a little explanatory table, but the terms and values are absolutely not real. It's just to explain. So we have printer A and printer B, with A supposed to represent the cheap printer, a bit cheap and low cost, and printer B, which represents a good printer, a bit expensive, we'll say. And so we'll see that for the basic prices, we'll be at 200 euros on printer A and 400 euros on printer B, but for the price of ink, we'll end up paying 70 euros on 3,000 papers for printer A, whereas for printer B, we'll be at 100 euros on 5,000 papers. Regarding the price of the paper too, for printer A, it's certainly cheaper, but the paper will be less profitable in the long term. So we come to the conclusion that over a year, we have 2,400 euros for printer A and 2,200 euros for printer B. So we have an example of a fake expensive. In other words, we have the printer that is supposed to be the most expensive, which will be more profitable for us in the long term, and even over 3 years, as you can see with the values on the slide. And that's it. Thank you for watching the video.